Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Ashok. This video is the part of LWC hands-on tutorial series where I am creating videos which are helpful to learn LWC practically. And today in this video, we will learn about custom types in Lightning Datatable, and we will see how to customize a data table to achieve a specific requirement that cannot be implemented by out-of-box features. And mostly we will try to get answer of 3 questions. What are custom types? Why we require them? Or we can say what problems they solve for us. And finally, how we can create our own custom types, or we can say how to use them to achieve a specific requirement. Okay. So first of all, let's start with data table. Like, what is data table? So data table is the out-of-box component created by Salesforce and which we will generally use to show data in tabular format. And it has predefined structure and provide many options to configure look and feel of table and to show data as per requirement. Okay. So now if we talk about those predefined configuration options, then type is the one of the most important configuration. So using this type option, we can define data type for column and we can tell data table to render data or cell in a specific format, and default type value for column is text. So whatever values we are showing in table, that will be visible as simple text by default. But let's say you want to show values in a specific format. For example, let's say you want to show currency values in localized format or in users format. Then if you will define type as currency for that column, then data table will automatically convert and show those values in users currency format. So let's say in my org or as a user, I have selected currency as INR. Then it will show amount in INR format with rupee icon. Okay. Or another example, let's say you want to show a button in column. Then if you set button value in type property, then data table will render that column cell with button. Okay. So simply if you want to show data in a particular format in data table, then that we can configure in type property with each column. Okay. And there are many standard built-in types provided by Salesforce like action, boolean, button icon, currency, date locale, email, location, number, phone, text and URL. And you can see here default is text. Okay. Now if we discuss high level on these types, then we can say this action is used to show drop down menu. For example, if you want to show 2 action buttons with each row to delete or edit record, then we can set action value in type property and also need to provide additional details for those menus. Okay. And this boolean type we can use with the true false values. So if we set type as boolean, then we will see utility check icon if value is true and blank in case of false. And to show simple button, we can use button type. And if you want to show button with icon, then we can use button icon type, and rest all we can understand by name itself. Like currency is used to show currency value in user specified format, and same with date and date locale, and rest all we can understand by name itself. Okay. And this text is the default type. So if we don't provide type with any column, then that will be considered as text. Okay. So all these data types are already available with data table, and using these types we can achieve almost all the basic requirements. But sometimes we used to get unique requirements from our customers, and those cannot be fulfilled by using out-of-box options. Like for example, let's say we want to show a custom link to redirect on record page, or you want to show an image in each row, or you may face many other requirements. Those cannot be directly achieved using these predefined options. So in that case, LWC provides us an option to create our custom types. So now if we talk about custom types, then as we have discussed, to show data in data table, we used to define data type with columns, and if our requirement cannot be fulfilled by standard available types, then LWC provides us a way to create our custom types. Okay. So in nutshell, custom type means define your own data type to achieve a specific requirement. Okay. So as of now we have discussed what are custom types and why we require them. And now it's time to see how we can create a new custom type. So if you want to create your own custom type, then first of all we need to create a new component and extends with Lightning Datatable class. And then we need to declare a static property custom types. And finally need to create a HTML template in same folder and need to associate with new type. Okay. So these few steps we need to follow to create a new custom type. And maybe you are not getting these steps clearly now, but it's fine, because once we'll implement these steps practically, then you will get them clearly. So now let's create new custom type here in this video. and see how to implement these steps practically. So now let's see what use case we will cover in this video. And for that, let me open my another org where I already have implemented a demo. Okay, so this is my another org. Here I already have implemented a use case, and this same use case we will implement in this video from scratch in another org. So let's understand this use case and see what all things we need to do. So as part of this use case, we need to read data from an API and show data in the table with these columns like title, description, price and image. So now if we need to show these columns in our Lightning data table, then we can say text type with title and description, and with price column we can set currency type. But as we have seen, we do not have any standard type to show image in data table. So that's what we will create in this video. We will create a custom type to show image in Lightning data table. Okay, so let's open VS Code and start practical implementation. Okay, so now I'm in my VS Code, and here I already have created a project and authorized with my org. And if you are absolutely new in LWC and don't know how to create new project or how to authorize with org, then you can refer my LWC Crash Course, and you can take link for that video from description. Okay, now as per the use case, what we want to do, we want to read products list from API and show in LWC component. So first let's create a new LWC component to show products list and name it products. Okay, so we have created new component products. Now first let's call third-party API to get products list. So here I'm using a free open API which do not require any authentication, and it returns a JSON response which includes a list of dummy products, and I will share this link in description, so you can also use this same. But in case if you are reading data from another source, that is also completely fine, because we only require URL or content of the image. Okay, now here in LWC we have two ways to call any third-party API, or we can say to make callouts. So first is using Apex. Like in Apex class, we can create a method to make callout, and after that we can call that method from LWC component. And another approach is using JavaScript fetch API. So if you have a requirement where you do not want to perform any server-side operation on data which you are getting from API, and you only want to show that data on LWC component, then why should we call it through Apex? Because we are just reading and returning data to LWC component, right? So in this case, we can directly call that API in LWC component itself using fetch API. And I already have created a detailed video in which I have demonstrated how you can make callouts from LWC components without going to Apex, and in which case you should call API through Apex, or when we should directly call in LWC component. So if you want to learn in detail about fetch APIs, then you can refer that video and you will find link in description. Okay, so now let's call this API from LWC component. And if you want to make callout using Apex code, then we need to add API domain in remote site settings or in named credentials. But if you want to call API in LWC component directly, then we need to add that API domain in CSP Trusted Sites, else you won't be able to call API and you will get an error. So first let's add this domain in CSP Trusted Sites. So let's open our org in which we will implement this requirement now, and open setup. And here in setup, let's find CSP Trusted Sites and click on new trusted site. And here let's give the site name. So let's add fake products and paste that domain name here without HTTPS. And now let's check these checkboxes and click on save. Okay, so we have added our API domain in CSP Trusted Sites. It means now we are allowed to make API request on this URL from JavaScript. So let's open our component again and write code to call API. Okay, so what I've done here, I have created an async method to get products list, and in this method I'm calling API using fetch method, and in this fetch method we need to pass API URL as first parameter, and as a second parameter we can provide additional options like method type, body and header. And right now we are using OpenGate API, so other options are not required. And I'm calling this method using async and await approach and storing response in response constant. And we can also call this API using promises as well, but async and await is the latest feature which is also built on top of promises. So in modern programming it is recommended to use async and await, and in this response we have a OK property which will be true in case of successful API call, and I have declared a products array property and assigning response JSON into this. So this is how we are getting actual data in this products array property, and now we can bind this array with our data table as data source. Okay, so now let's write HTML markup for data table. Okay, so here I have added lightning card with products title and added standard product icon, and under this card added a div to show padding around, and finally under this div added data table markup with these required attributes. So in this key field attribute we need to provide a unique value field name, so I have provided ID here, and what all data we want to show in this data table, that we need to provide in this data attribute as a list. So I have provided our products array property here, and in this columns attribute we need to provide an array which contains all the configurations related to our table columns. So I have provided columns property into this, but as of now we have not created it in JavaScript file. So let's open JS file again, and here first let's create columns constant, then we will assign this into property. Okay, so here I have declared columns array constant. Now here in this array let's add all the columns that we want to show in our data table. So as per this demo we want to show title, description, price and image. So let's start adding title column. Okay, so I have added an object in this array using curly braces, and in this object I have added label and field name property. So here label means what will be the heading of column. So we want to show title in column heading, so added title here. And field name means which data source field value you want to show in this column. So we want to show title values in this column, so use this title key, and this key name you will get to know from response JSON. So let me show you again what we are getting there. Okay, so here you can see we have a title property in JSON, and we want to show this title value in our first column, so added title as field name. Okay, and now these two properties are required with almost each column, but additionally we can add more properties if required. So let's say as of now we are fine with these two properties, so let's add other columns as well. Okay, in the same way I have also created description, price and image column, and now let's create columns property and assign this columns constant. And why I have created constant first and assigned that in property, so this is because we can't declare constant in component class, so declared it out of class definition. And now if you want to access this constant data in HTML template, then in HTML template we can only access data of component class properties. So that's why I have created constant out of the class, and to access these data into HTML template created this columns property. Okay, now before deployment let's make changes in the meta config file of the component, so we can use it in Salesforce pages. Okay, I have changed this isExpose property to true and added app and homepage as target. So isExpose true means this component is ready to use, but where we can use this is we can define in targets. So as per this configuration, we can use this component in app or home pages. But if you want to use anywhere else, then you can define more targets here. Okay. Now let's deploy this component. Deployment is done. Now let's open our org where we have deployed this component. Okay. Now I'm in my Salesforce org. So let's add that component here on home page. So let's click on this gear icon and again click on edit page. And now we are in app builder interface, and here in left top section you can see all standard components, and if you scroll a little bit down, then here you can see all the custom components which are created by us, and here you can see our products component. So let's drag it from here and drop wherever we want to add on page. So let's drop it here on top of quarterly performance. Okay, so this is how we can add LWC component on Salesforce pages in app builder. And now let's click on save and then bake. Alright, now we can see our products component here on home page, and also we can see data with all defined columns, right? Like title, description, price and image. But if you compare this new table with our demo table, then we have few differences here. So let's compare this table with demo one. So the first difference is here in demo table we don't have any checkbox column, but in our new table we have checkbox column here. And next difference is in demo table we can see price values are left aligned with currency icon, but in our new implementation values are left aligned and we don't have any currency icon here. It means this is a simple text. And at last we can see image in image column in our demo table, but in our new table we can see image URL instead of image. Okay, so now let's open our VS Code again and work on these differences. So first difference was that checkbox column, and by default with every data table LWC show this checkbox column. And now if you want to hide, then we have to add additional attribute for that. So let me add that attribute here. Okay, so I have added this hide checkbox column attribute and assign value true. So now that checkbox column will hide. And next we want to show price right aligned with currency icon. So that we can achieve using type property. I mean we can set type to currency, then rest all things will take care by data table itself. So let's add type property with price column and assign currency as value. Okay, now at last we want to show image in image column instead of URL. So as we have discussed, we don't have any standard type to show image in columns. So now let's create custom type to show image and use here with image column. And as we have discussed, if you want to create new custom type, then first of all we need to create new component and extends with lightning data table class. So let's create new component and name it custom data table. Okay, new component is created. Now here let's extend lightning data table class instead of this lightning element. Okay, so I have used lightning data table class here instead of lightning element. Now this component inherits lightning data table class. It means now here we can do customization for data table. Okay, and now as a next step, let's create a custom types static property. Okay, now here in this static property we can define our custom types. So let's add new custom type to show image, and here first we need to provide custom type name. So let's write custom image, and here in this object we can assign three properties: template, type attributes and standard cell layout. So in template property we need to provide actual HTML template which will render as a cell in table. So for that, we need to create a simple HTML file and refer that file here in template property. So let's create new HTML file and write HTML markup to show image. Okay, so I have added new HTML file custom image and added img tag to show image, and in src attribute assigned value property and added slds classes to show image large and in circle. Okay, now let's use this HTML template with custom image type. So let's import that HTML file here and assign in template property. Okay, so I have imported this HTML file and assigned in template property. Now if we discuss about this value property, then what we will get here in this value property, so here in this value property we will get the value of this field name property, this image. So whatever field name property we bind with column, that we will get here in HTML file in value property. But let's say for example we want to show products title on mouse or on image, then how we can achieve this requirement? Because in this case we need to pass additional values in HTML template. So if you want to pass multiple values to custom type, then we can pass those values in type attributes. So let me pass product title and add in image tag. Okay, so here with custom type I have added type attributes property. Now in this property we can write all the additional property names that we want to pass to HTML markup, and as of now we only want to pass title, but if you want to pass multiple, then you can add comma here and add new property. Okay, and here in custom type HTML template we can access those additional values with type attributes dot property name. So in our case property name is title, so added type attributes dot title here. Okay, so this is how using type attributes we can pass additional values into custom type HTML markup. So now we are done with custom type creation. Like what we have done here, first of all we have created a new component and extend with lighting datatable class, and under this component we have declared a static custom types property, and under this custom type property we have added our new type name, that is custom image in our case. And in this custom type we can pass three properties: template, type attributes and standard cell layout. So in template we can pass HTML file name. So I have created a custom image HTML file and written all the HTML markup that we want to show in table cell, and type attributes is used to pass additional values in the HTML markup. Okay, and now let's add this our custom type with image column. So let's copy this type name and paste here in image column. And finally let's update datatable HTML markup with new component. Now instead of this lightning datatable we will use our new component, because our new component extends lightning datatable class and also contains our custom types. So let's add our custom datatable component here. Okay, so now how it will work: once we will load this products component, then it will call our custom datatable component and it extends lightning datatable class. So our datatable will start rendering, and once datatable started rendering our image column, then it will check into this custom types property and it will pick our HTML file from this template property and render image in every cell. Okay, so now I think we are done with our code. So let's deploy these components and test in our org. Alright, now we can see our checkbox column is not visible here, but this price is not coming in the proper format. So let me check it again. Oh, there is a spelling mistake, so let me correct. Okay, so let me redeploy it. Alright, now we can see price in correct format. I mean, it is right aligned with rupee icon. And also we can see image in our image column. So it means we have successfully created a new custom type to show image in data table. And this is just one example, but using this approach and custom types, you can achieve almost all the requirements in Lightning data table. Okay. So I think that's it for this video. And if this video helped you to learn something new, then please don't forget to like, comment or subscribe. And these things will help me a lot and give me motivation to create more videos like this. So thank you for watching. I will see you in next video.